This is my September garden update. There is still garden. Sorry for the noise in the background. There's wood being chopped and stacked. But my first job today is to rip out my morning glories. They are just about done. There's still blooms, but the flowers have gotten smaller and it is covered in seeds, which I do not want to dry out and spread all over my garden. So I need to rip it out before they dry. I have saved some of them. Some of them probably have already dried and fallen, but they're easy to identify, so it makes it easy to rip up. But I'm ready to clean them up. The vines are starting to dry out. The leaves are yellowing and getting brown, falling off. Yeah. So today it's time to rip out my collapsed morning glory arch. I do want to show you the seeds, just because, you know. So this is what the seeds look like, or seed pods look like. Usually they grow in clusters of like 3. 1, 2, 3. Those ones are a bit small. Let's see if I can find a big one. Here's a bigger one. There we go. So they usually grow in clusters of 3. And once they dry up, these longer outside pieces fall off. And you're left with, let me see if I can get this out. So once it dries off, you're left with this little piece, and it has like 6 seeds in it that will just pop open and disperse everywhere. So today's job is to finish collapsing this and detach it from the rest of my garden and drag it off into the woods so that it doesn't do any damage. And then maybe we'll see what my sweet potatoes are doing. Alright, so now that mess is cleaned up, I have decided that I will not be planting morning glories again unless I have a designated place where they can just grow freely for the rest of eternity, because that's a lot of seeds. And I'm really glad I pulled them out when I did, because I would have had a mess next year if I had let them dry out completely. So that cleanup project is done. Just some comments about the garden. I've got lots of tomatoes. I don't know if they'll all be able to ripen before it gets cold, because it's chillier than normal this year, I think, or at least it feels like it. We're a week out from fall, basically. Not quite. A little less than a week. Hi, Warren. Look, a plant. You pulled the grass. Good job. You want to sit on my lap? No. Okay, bye-bye. So it's actually quite chilly this morning. As you can see, I have a shirt. Can you see my shirt? Yeah, my shirt's in there. And a sweater. And a bigger shirt over top of it. And shoes. I came out to hang up the laundry this morning with just bare feet and a lightweight shirt on, and it was freezing. Not literally, but you know, probably in the 40s, and the grass was wet. My feet were so cold. Anyway, I digress. I've got lots of tomatoes. I don't know how many will be able to ripen before it starts getting too cold. I have one eggplant, finally. It's about this big right now. It's a white eggplant. It's a Casper. Anyway, we'll see. Eggplants seem to always do that to me. Like, they look like they're about to die all summer long. And then the weather cools off and they start flowering and looking happy again. So I don't know I don't know. And they're in the same family as like potatoes and tomatoes, right? They like warm weather, don't they? I don't know. I'm not a big eggplant person, but today's next project is sweet potatoes. And I wanted to leave them a bit longer, but two things. One, this vine over here is starting to yellow, and you know, the leaves and the edges of the vines and stuff. And it's getting cooler, and this is about the time you typically harvest sweet potatoes, right before the fall comes, you know, when it's starting to cool off. So I planted these sweet potatoes very badly in the spring because my mother had some sweet potatoes that were sprouting, and she asked me if I would like to have them to plant in my garden. And I said, sure. And I didn't think about it at all, because if I had thought about it, I know that when you plant sweet potatoes, you don't plant them the way you do regular potatoes. You cut them in half and you stick them in water and you let them start growing vines. And then you pull the vines off of the sweet potato and then you stick them in water to root them. And then you plant them after they've rooted. And then they grow sweet potatoes. But obviously I wasn't thinking, because I didn't do that. I planted them the way you plant regular potatoes, even though I've planted sweet potatoes before, and I know this. So I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking at all, apparently. So I did that, and then about a month later, I was like, wait a minute, that's not how you plant sweet potatoes? What was I thinking? But at that point, I was like, well, either one, they have started to grow anyway, or two, they've started to rot. So either way, there's no point in me digging them up. I'll just wait and see what happens. So I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited so long that I forgot I had planted sweet potatoes very badly. And then, I don't know, the beginning of August maybe, they started shooting up. Actually, I didn't even notice because the bed was so full of weeds that I didn't see them till they were like almost a foot long. And I was like, wait a minute, there's vines in here. So I cleaned it all up, and they've been growing very happily ever since. And I've decided that today is the day to carefully dig them up and see what they look like. Hopefully it's something nice. I've only grown sweet potatoes once before, and I grew them in pots. And we were moving, so rather than let them go a couple more weeks, I just pulled them up. And some of them were decent size and some of them were tiny, but they tasted delicious anyway. Just slice them up and pan fry them. Doesn't matter how big they are around. So, enough jibber jabber. Let's get to it and see how my sweet potatoes actually did being planted that way. Hopefully, good. Let's go. Just a few little ones. Probably I won't even eat them. I'll probably save them for next year. See if I can grow them more effectively. However, I will say that I have a lot of vines, and a lot of them re-rooted in places. So I'll see if I can maybe keep them in water for a while and then start them in little pots. That way they're all ready to go in the spring. That might be too long, but I'll give it a shot anyway, just for fun. Also, I'm not sure how to eat them, but I know you can eat sweet potato leaves and vines and things. So I'm gonna have to check that out. No point in wasting food, right? I mean, they could go to the compost, but you don't need to. Alright, I will see you guys again, hopefully soon. It's not the end of the year. There's more harvest to come. Not too much, but there's more. So I'll talk to you guys again next time, and learn from my mistakes. Don't plant morning glories, and make slips before you plant your sweet potatoes. See you guys next time. Bye.